And who do you do this for, Shelby?
Yeah, I think I became a journalist and a storyteller, I think, for my younger self. So when I was growing up, I didn't grow up in my community. I didn't really grow up knowing, I knew that I was Mohawk. I knew I was Turtle Clan. I didn't know what that meant. And the things that I had to try to learn who are Mohawk people, who are Indigenous women, were these representations in media that did not tell me a picture. You know, what I saw of Tyendinaga was, you know, protests, and that's the only time we made the news. And I wanted a more complete picture of who are we, and I wanted young Indigenous people to be able to see themselves and to see that we are, you know, artists, and we are doctors, and we are, you know, we're doing so many things in the world, and it's really important. And so I think it was just missing for me, and I didn't know where to look, and I didn't know where to look to see who am I. And now I'm really happy that there are actually a lot of places to look to do that. But I think it was a challenge, though, too, because when you're asking me, you know, who do you do this for? That was something I asked myself a lot when working as a journalist in a mainstream kind of journalism world. I did feel often like I was making stories not for our people. Like we often end up making those stories to educate others, or, you know, for a different kind of audience. And that's something I've actually struggled with now. How do I use those skills to benefit my people, or to teach them how to tell their own stories, or, you know, and that's a question I'm still asking myself. Who am I doing this for? And who do I want to be doing this for? And so in my very shorter career, I'm still trying to figure that out. So I would be really interested to know where you've landed on that in your time doing this work.
I don't think it's much different. I think that in my, you know, maybe 20, 30 years ago, I would have thought it was for my future kids. But now that I've met them, you know, like, I think they'll be okay, because they live in a different experience than I did. But I think it's for anyone who feels invisible. And I think there are still so many of us, like I was, who felt totally invisible because we didn't see ourselves on television, in the newspaper, in any conversation, in any textbook. We never saw ourselves, and basically we did not exist. And the negative sort of stereotypes that you see just created this idea that not only were you invisible, when you were around, you were like dangerous, you know? So that's why I continue to do it, because I don't feel like it's changed very much. And also, I do believe that whatever we do, you know, on a metaphysical level, it does heal backwards. And I think, because I mentioned, you know, I have my mother, who is Soto from Muscophetung First Nation in Saskatchewan. Both of her parents went to residential school. My dad, who is from Israel, his father is a Holocaust survivor. So this idea that, you know, you can, by the words you speak and the things that you do today and present day, you can heal generational wounds, like, from the past. I think so I do it to honor that history, simply by existing and talking and telling stories. So I think it's similar to yours. But unfortunately, you know, every day I feel like, I'm just going to go do a normal show, like, that doesn't have to do with anything important. Yeah. And, like, I can't.
Yeah.
Because there's so much work to do.
We just care too much.
I care too much, and we're still invisible. And there's just not enough happening. There's not enough people, not enough capacity, and not enough support, not enough access and opportunities. So I can't, because, not to be like a martyr, but, like, you just can't stop right now, because there's too much to be done.